Hello, my name is Leonardo da Vinci. Today I'll be telling you a little bit about my friend Paolo Uccello, but first I have to teach you about the history of the Renaissance. The Renaissance was a time period of culture, scientific revolution, and artistic achievements. The term Renaissance means rebirth. The Renaissance was the transitional time between the Middle Ages and the modern era. During this time people were more focused on humanism. This means people were focused more on enjoying life and human achievements. The Renaissance started in northern Italian city-states such as Florence. The Renaissance was a result of the bubonic plague. After the plague, the surviving merchants had reduced business opportunities and had to demand higher wages for labor. This led to many people becoming more focused on artwork and other skills such as writing. Renaissance art was very different from medieval art. In Renaissance art, people had distinct facial expressions and poses rather than medieval art where people looked almost similar. Renaissance artists used perspective in their art rather than things being layered like paintings done in medieval time. Painters in the Renaissance also used depth and used oil paintings called frescoes. Some famous painters were Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael. A true Renaissance man was supposed to be well-rounded. They went to school and were well educated. A lot of artists got new ideas for art by studying previous artists' work. In Renaissance society, artists were very important. They were usually wealthy and highly regarded. A Renaissance artist's audience may vary from wealthy merchants and politics. Paolo Uccello was born in the year 1397 and died in the year 1475. He grew up in Florence, Italy. At the age of 10, Paolo became an apprentice for the sculptor, Lorenzo Ghiberti, who was most famous for the bronze doors of the baptistry of the Florence Cathedral. Lorenzo influenced Paolo at a young age to become an artist. In 1415, Paolo became a member of the Arte dei Medici e degli Speziali, which was the official guild in Florence for painters. At the guild, Paolo became obsessed with perspective. My friend is famous for his combination of Gothic and early Renaissance art. He was also one of the first painters to use perspective and create depth. Even though a lot of his paintings are missing, Paolo influenced many Renaissance and modern painters. The painting of St. George and the Dragon was finished in 1470. This was painted using oil on canvas. This tells the story of how St. George defeated a plague-bearing. He then rescued a princess who brought the dragon to heel. The painting of the Hunt in the Forest was painted from 1465 to 1470. This was also painted by using oil paint. This is not based on any actual event. This instead just shows his understanding of how the huntsmen, the horses, and the dogs disappear into the forest. The fresco called the Funerary Monument to Sir John Hawkwood was painted in 1436. This tells the story of how he led the Florentine troops to victory in the Battle of Cassina. This fresco was not finished until 1524 by Lorenzo di Credi. The painting of Bernardo della Chiesa thrown off his horse was painted in 1450. This was painted in oil and on canvas. This tells the story of the Florentine army defeating Bernardo della Sarda of Lucca's army. The last painting we are going to talk about is the Battle of San Romano. This was painted in 1456. The actual battle was on June 1, 1432. This battle was fought between the Florentine army and the army of Lucca.